Hello and welcome to Breakfast Central on News Central. It's day 2 in a brand new working week and we are back on your TV screens like we never left. Well, it feels good to be back, by the way. My name is Joe Hansen and most definitely we do have the likes who are here, but I'm just going to say welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's Tuesday, a rainy Tuesday, city of aquatic splendor for a reason. I'm still trying to get wrap my head around the extreme weather patterns we've been witnessing. There was no Hamilton in Lagos. And it's rained throughout the month of January, and we're in February. We had our first rains of February last night. I wish we could speak to somebody from the meteorological department to explain what's really going on with the weather. But I mean, if it makes the environment cool, I'm all for it. It's better than the blazing sunshine. And as a cool person, I like the cool weather, and as a big fan of Cool FM. Yeah.
I see what you're doing there. All right, to our virtual audience, thank you for joining us, as well as those who are watching from whatever platform, DSTV, GoTV, Avo TV, YouTube. Thank you for being here with us and stay with us from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. The next 3 hours, we're going around Nigeria and bringing some very interesting headlines, which we'll be sharing what they are with you shortly. But gentlemen, it's good to have you here again.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
I noticed something. It looks like we're repeating the same colors from yesterday, just in different...
Blue.
You wore blue yesterday.
True.
I also wore another green suit yesterday, and you also wore another brown nudish suit.
Yeah, you wore
yesterday.
brown.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. Yes,
You wore
yes.
And we're doing
brown
the
is
same
quite
colors
similar, yes.
again.
Yeah, brown with a historical tie. Yeah, really nice. And talking about cool, you know, blue is the color of cool and water. It's really nice, and I'm feeling cool today. And still talking about being cool.
Dry.
One of my favorite musicians, his name is Bebe Cool. He's Ugandan.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So if you listen to Bebe Cool, it will cool your mind
temper.
and cool your temper.
Okay.
In case if this is your first time, I apologize. And just to let you know that this is typically how Benga behaves.
Why you apologize? I own my behavior with my full chest. I love it.
This is typically Benga.
Are you Malami?
He's about Macaulay. Okay.
He's owing with his full chest that his salary as a public servant is how many million naira per month.
Okay.
A public servant earning over 200 something million naira per month.
I think the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission needs to speak on that. So many things to unpack in the course of today's show.
Okay, let's start by unpacking
I can't wait.
You know, unpacking it one after the other. And like we do every morning, we take your comments from YouTube, even though we go on X. So if you're in Onitsha, please drop a comment and give us your real-time report of what the opening of Onitsha Main Market was like yesterday. Onitsha Main Market, the largest commercial hub in Anambra State, reopened on Monday after a one-week shutdown ordered by Governor Chukwuma Soludo over traders' compliance with or rather non-compliance with the return to market, as well as with their compliance over the long-running Monday sit-at-home directive linked to the indigenous people of Biafra. The governor had warned that the closure would be extended if traders failed to resume, prompting shop owners to return early, with stores reopening from Egerton through Ose Foodstuff Market, Young Park, Emeka Ofo Plaza, Sokoto Road, Lagos Line and Marine. A visit to the market by reporter Chinwe Ugele showed customers gradually streaming in under tight security presence. The Anambra Police Command also urged residents to ignore threats and misinformation from non-state actors, assuring the public of intensified patrols to protect lives and property as business activities normalized. When we started to talk about this, part of the statement was, it's not enough to say that marketers should return to the market, but we encouraged the governor and his members of his cabinet to come and spend time with the marketers and make them feel safe. Seems that the governor took our advice. He did the official opening and said he was going to do some shopping. Let's listen to what he said there.
It's Monday, the second day of February 2026. This is the first Monday that Main Market will be open in more than 5 years. And I have come to witness it. I have come to shop at Main Market today. Anambra, because you believe. And because main market is open today, Anambra is open again on Mondays. Once main market is open, Anambra is main market to address, not here. Main market to address in Igbo. And now wrap your business inside now nebendi ozo. Okay, game ozo. Okay, game ozo. Thank you very much.
So in case you're wondering what he was saying that main market is the address of the Anambra people, that the main market is the address. If main market is open, it means the rest of the state is open. And this speaks to why people are asking, why does it have to be just the main market? Why is he insisting that main market reopens when banks aren't open, schools aren't open on Monday, institutions, private and public, aren't open on Monday? Why the banks? But he's saying that the main why the market rather, but he's saying that the main market is a symbol. It's a very solid symbol of the Anambra people, and that it's like their address. So once the main market opens, every other thing around it flows, and it's a natural return to order. He did say, if you listen to the longer version of the video, that he had a number of things to buy, that he has also come to shop from the main market, and he has a few stores that he was going to visit. And if you can see clips there, he's buying this nice designer, main market designer shirt. Very nice. I hope he wear it for his next address.
That shirt will look nice in Johansson, by the way.
Yeah, that's a popular
followed
shirt,
up with a blue Jims. Jims trousers.
Jims trousers.
But you see the smiles on their
this
faces.
shirt, very popular. Benga, you have this shirt?
I don't.
Okay, that's
Oh wow, Joe, you seem to know a lot of these things. I mean, you do a lot of market shopping. You're speaking from experience.
Very popular shirt.
But I mean, this is a good way to return to the market, spending time with them.
Long may it last. And I really hope that on Mondays that the governor and the security retinue are not there, that peace is kept, because the people have lost a lot of income due to the sit-at-home order. And like he said, it's a symbol. I will hope that schools, banks, and other businesses will pick up. Like our guest yesterday, Mr. Okewa, said, the approach in Anambra State is quite different from what prevailed in Enugu and other states, where it wasn't really compulsory, it wasn't a forceful compliance.
That he tried the forceful compliance way, but it didn't work. And they had to adjust. For me, I think the governor, like Olive rightly said, has a listening ear. He has been able to listen to the people, and he's able to do it the right way. If you compare what he's done now to what he did last week, you'd see the difference. Now, this is a more, I'll permit me to use the word, human approach, reasonable approach, empathetic approach. Because the previous meeting, which was the first, there were a lot of threats flying in the air. If you don't open, I'm going to destroy your shop, or I'm going to keep it locked for 3 months, and so on. He should also remember that him doing this, he's saving his purse. I mean, the internally generated revenue is basically looking like it's going to be guaranteed going forward, because the tax system would now see a robust input in terms of what is coming in, compared to what had happened every Monday, where they had a lot of leakages in terms of taxes and so on. And now every marketer would be willing to say, okay, fine, if the governor came here, then it means that he really cares for us. And I must say this, it's not just during elections or pre-elections that you go around and start eating agbado, corn, you eat coconut, you go to the market and dance with the people. This is what you ought to do, especially when the people need to
even as a second-term government.
Around there. Exactly. And just to mention again, we've seen this trajectory play out many times. Whenever it's second term, governors tend to take actions that are not beneficial to most of the people. It's second term.
They damn the consequences. That's when they demolish.
Exactly. That's when they demolish houses. We've seen a similarity. Always happens in Lagos and maybe a few other states as well. It was second term that Lagos State had to say prior to the elections, before Sanwo-Olu came in, Okada will be banned. And that happened. That was a stringent move. But now we're starting to see things go that same way. But kudos to the people of Onitsha, the traders, and kudos to the governor for retracing his steps, if we put it that way, and doing it the right way. let the people understand that you are like them. You
are not just like them, that you are with them.
You're with them. You feel what they feel.
Because it's very easy for citizens to feel like you are sitting there on your high horse or your high stool and backing down others down at them.
And you think business people don't want to come to work?
Of course they want to come to work.
It's in their interest, but if they don't feel safe enough,
the one thing that you know Igbo people with
yeah.
is a hustling spirit. The spirit, they love hard working. You know, they would, an Igbo man would
very enterprising.
I went into the market and I was trying to, you know, get something done. I was trying to get my phone fixed, and one of the Igbo men there, his phone rang. He picked it. He said, "No, please, I need to hustle. Let me call you back. I need to hustle." I said, so they have a hustle culture. They are very.
You went to the mall, you mean?
No, not mall. I went to
market.
Sakatinabu.
You've been to that's
yes, it was very traumatizing.
Okay, that's a
it was a traumatizing day, very traumatizing. I promise you. I tried Computer Village. I couldn't.
I can't imagine.
I couldn't even stay. As I entered, I just turned around. I said, "Nah, I'm not about this."
You'd have entered with
my
green.
suit.
You enter with this green, you come out with boxers.
You know, that's your appearance alone.
You know,
it's automatic inflation.
Yeah, my appearance. I removed my jacket, so I wore, because yesterday I wore a suit as well.
Yeah.
So I removed that jacket and I wore the innerwear and the trouser. But still, the way they were looking at me at the point, and I had to tell my driver.
You still had your makeup on.
I still had my makeup on. I told my driver.
You have to wear jeans and
t-shirts
and.
Nah, it was not good. It was not a good experience.
You are setting yourself up for extra price.
They're looking at me like I have plenty money. They don't know the same economy all of us.
But by the grace of God, you do have.
Amen. Amen. But that being said, what this video tells us is the citizens in Igbo want to work hard. In Anambra want to work hard. They are hard workers. Nobody wants to set up a business and just leave one day for it. I mean, even if they don't want to go, they want their boy or their girl to go there. You know, they want their staff to have it open so they don't lose out on money.
Time is
the
money.
Major concern was always about security. Now, recall that when we talked about this, after the governor gave the orders, there was a meeting between the market stakeholders, the market leaders, and the governor. And in that meeting, the governor assured the market leaders that he was going to provide maximum security and that, you know, nobody will be hurt. So, I mean, after the meeting happened, there was also assurance on the part of the traders that they will return back to the market. The leader, the chairman of the Main Market Association, then promised that they would return to the market, seeing as the governor had provided and promised security. But let's now go to X and see what Nigerians are saying. The last time, a lot of people were pretty pissed that the governor had asked people to return to the market, and they said it's not in your position to order people. But let's see what they're saying now. Mr. Isaac says, unfortunately, this is the only thing he's achieved after 5 years. That main market is open. That main market is open on a Monday. What a legacy!
Which Mr. is there? Another Mr. Is?
No, it's not Mr. Is a musician. It was at least he showed the good qualities of a leader. Good to see him on the ground. The security personnel should be on ground for at least the next 6 months to ensure safety of lives. Exactly. And the next tweet says, also, I hope those drones will continue to fly even after he leaves. I'm in total support of the reopening of that market. But there should be provision of adequate security to protect the lives and properties of those risking it all.
We also have the boss says, last, after God, now government, they can only make noise online. We all know this is what's best for the people. Okay. Niger citizen says, if the market was on, he would not be able to enter. Also, Onitsha market is a very broad term. You can stand 400 kilometers from the market and still say you're in the market.
So what are they trying to say? That people did not return?
Lioness says, when is Soludo addressing customers if he succeeds in opening shops? What about the customers? Is he going to force them to come out and buy, or is he going to buy everything in the market on their behalf? Chineme Luma says, this is not the main market. Okay.
Everybody knows main market. They know the outskirts and the main market.
From their standpoint, yeah. Martin says, he has done well. Soludo has shown leadership, and I love him for that. Okay. Thank you for your comments.
Anyway, just to add, I think whether it's the main market or it's not the main market, it's a good step in the right direction. And it's going to take time for it to eventually catch up with every single person. The good news is if repeatedly, starting from this Monday, next Monday, if the entire Monday from the month of February and March, the market spaces are opened, people can start flocking around maybe towards the end of February because they're certain that, oh, they've not heard anything.
And things have been normalized.
Exactly. And just to highlight that, I think it's also very important and imperative that the governor should keep the security around the market, within the market space.
I think it's commonsensical, and
just leave them
definitely
there, even for 6 months. Let them stay there, because it will build some form of trust. Believability.
And are you not even supposed to have like some sort of security post position around the market?
The market space, and you're also supposed to, and that's where people have been talking about Lagos State, where you have market spaces, and yet security is a problem, and not forgetting to the ambulances, because market spaces are bent on always having fire incidences. Arsonists and so on could also flock around. So I believe, for me, it's a good one. It's a good one. I like the fact that I retraced his steps, and that makes it even interesting.
Well, will I say retraced his steps? I don't think he completely retraced his steps. I would just say he slightly
tried a
tweaked
different
his approach. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's like retracing.
What he has done was what he was going to do anyway. He said he was going to open the market, and open the market he did. He just did not do it with that show of force. He did it more with a compassionate appeal to the citizens, like showing up in the market, toasting them, literally, in Nigerian parlance. So appealing to their emotions and then promising their security, which is what citizens have asked for. But we're streaming on YouTube, as I did mention earlier. You can go on YouTube and let's take a few comments. I will take this comment from YouTube. Mokuye Chukwuemeka says, guarantee the traders security and see them come to their shop. Good approach from the governor. Chukwa Ochiama says, all right, but let it be noted that any life lost there as a result of this very forceful resumption, Soludo must be held responsible. We want in Anambra, if you're in Anambra, even if you're not in Anambra, go to the YouTube section, News Central TV Live /YouTube, to drop your comments and let us know what you think about it. All right, we'll be heading to our next story in a moment, and we want to get your thoughts about this as well. We're talking about the foreign trips. The presidency spent no less than 34.39 billion on foreign exchange purchases for international travel and related obligations over a 2-year period, according to findings by The Punch based on data from GovSpend. We'll be expanding the meaning of this. I just want you to sit and think of this. 34 billion naira on Forex in 2 years, just because of travel. We're going to break, and when we come back from the break, we'll be expanding this, and then we'll be taking your comments on YouTube as well. Please stay with us.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. We apologize for that short break we took. It was to attend to some technical issues. But we're back, and it's still wake-up conversations. Now, as Olive previewed before we went to that break, the presidency spent no less than 34.39 billion naira on foreign exchange purchases for international travel and related obligations over a 2-year period, according to findings by the Punch newspaper based on data from GovSpend, a government expenditure tracker managed by BudgIT. The records covering the State House, the presidential air fleet, and offices linked to the president, vice president, and their aides showed that spending peaked in 2024 at 29.35 billion before dropping sharply to 5.04 billion in 2025. An 82% decline that reflects recent stability in the naira. Much of the forex was used to fund official trips, aviation operations, ESTA codes, and other logistics, with the presidential air fleet accounting for several multi-billion naira transactions tied to overseas travel. Meanwhile, the presidency maintains that the trips were essential for diplomacy and investment drives. The scale of the spending continues to raise concerns among Nigerians, especially at a time of tight government finances and persistent foreign exchange pressures.
Very interesting there. I mean, let's look at the positive angle.
The drop, yes.
The positive angle to this is that there's a sharp drop from 28 billion naira to 5 billion naira. Let me get the exact numbers, it was 34.39 billion naira in total, but we could see that there was 29.35 billion in 2024 and 5.04 billion naira in 2025, representing an 82.8% decline year on year. So the question is, what did they do differently from 2024 to 2025 to ensure?
Because of the foreign exchange. Differences.
Foreign exchange differences.
Was it just the differences that can be attributed to that, or a complete, or a change, or an overhaul?
If you do recall, the dollar got to, it picked up over 1,000.
Yeah.
It was almost 2,000.
Yeah.
At the highest, it was 1,008. Right now, the dollar is like, okay, 1,450.
So if you, do the deductions. But it's still, it
can't just be.
But you're focusing on the deductions. In as much as we're focusing on the deductions, which is good, the problem is, look at that figure. It's 34.9 billion naira.
That's
It's way too much
years.
in 2 years. That's high.
But look, if you look at the flip side of things, according to government, it was meant for diplomatic runs and investment drives. So Nigeria would be of immense benefit. It would be of immense benefit to Nigeria in the long run. So see it as an investment for better days ahead.
Been to France how many times? He's going to France again now. He's going again.
To Europe or France?
France.
Okay.
Except from Europe, he's going to touch down France.
Yeah.
Again. And this adds to the fleet.
Wait, just after his return from
Yes, he's going again. Just watch.
And
no wonder.
I
did see a report in the newspaper, and it said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu visits Nigeria after his trip in Turkey, because that's what it seems like.
Did they really say visit Nigeria?
Yes, I saw the headline.
Oh my God!
I think the media, our media colleagues are really taking the piss now. They're really taking it to the next
Nigeria,
level.
Visits his own country. It's just like saying Olive Emily visits her house,
or Olive visits New Central.
Or visits New Central
in the morning.
After trip to
I don't even know what.
But let's be honest. This video, I did see a video. Unfortunately, I didn't send it to the production team.
The South African president. No.
Both of them. Okay. Donald Trump returned yesterday. He too went out on a trip. He went on a trip. So he came back to the United States just yesterday morning, and he came along. He was just there. There was no lineup of people as we see there on the screen.
So you know what it would take? It would take a president, and they say we're used to tradition. He did, a president, in fairness to him, he didn't start this, but he could read the room and look at what other heads of state are doing across the world, and also the time. You have the coordinating minister of the economy there. You also have the minister of budget and national planning. You have a state governor all the way in the southeastern part of the countries there. These are very busy people that have important jobs, and they shouldn't be part of your welcome party. And this is so archaic. It's almost like a throwback to the 1980s when you had military rule, when it was the in thing. We should have moved away from this. I saw the South African president in, just an Air Force aide, 1 or 2 people, and that's it. You go about, because we're playing catch up in a lot of things, and when you look at things like the casualness of it, all is well in Nigeria. There's no need to hurry up to fix things. It's just so relaxing.
Let me
The hard
mention.
part of this is that it's a presidential fleet that's a huge contributor to how much has been spent, especially in 2024 with the multi-billion-dollar transactions that it's had to make, right? So if you're looking at the fact that every other time the president is traveling,
it does
you think of aviation fuel, you think of the maintenance, the ESTA code, because if the president doesn't travel alone, he travels with
the retinue of aides.
Aides. These people have to get dollars, they have to get foreign exchange to spend. And whether we like it or not, we still need foreign exchange as a country. There are Nigerians who have to, dollar, for example, is still a currency by which the world determines, or other countries determine the strength of their currency. That is the current reality. And there are Nigerians who still demand dollars because they have families abroad that they have to look after, children, they have school fees to pay, they have medical tourism, So at the end of the day, there's still a huge demand of dollars, but that's not just what it's for. A lot of the materials that are used for production are imported, and a number of these materials have to be purchased in foreign currency. So there's still a huge demand of Forex.
I wonder what the obsession is with overseas travel. And it didn't start with this administration. I remember President Buhari, one of the interviews he did when he was president, and he was very casual about it. He said one funny moment in his presidency was he was reading the newspaper, and then he came upon this cartoon in the newspaper that complained about his incessant foreign trips. And in the cartoon, they did point that, what do you expect from somebody that is a Fulani? Of course, he will be nomadic and be traveling everywhere. He said he found that really, really funny. And, you know, some of the light moments he shared in his presidency.
So the thing is, again, if they are doing a lot of travel, what is the outcome of the travel? How has this benefited the country? Can we see a vast benefit as opposed to, oh, they signed this deal, and when an average Nigerian hears 34 billion in 2 years, they're just thinking, you're spending so much, yet you're demanding so much of me. You're demanding taxes, you're demanding this and that. You haven't even given me the quality of governance and leadership.
You're not tightening your belt.
You're not tightening your belts. It's just like your parent. A practical example is your parents telling you at home, we don't have money, you people have to manage, you know, you eat rice, no meat.
Mommy's eating shawarma. Burger.
Not just shawarma. She's going out every day. She's going to party every other day. She's going to go and flange you. Or she'll tell you, I'm going for meeting. I'm going to.
And she's buying her show every other weekend.
You know, and she's going. She's going with her friends. She's going with her colleagues.
And so she's packed spray money for spraying.
Exactly, mint.
But she's telling you,
take every gari. You guys need to manage. You need to learn to manage. You're going to look at her and wonder. Are you really my mother, or did you
let's quickly go back a little. I was going to look at how much former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan also spent on travel. And the data shows that in 2012, Goodluck Jonathan spent 3.354 billion naira. 3.354 billion naira. That's what he spent or thereabout. The 2013 budget proposal was 2.6 billion naira for travel, while 2014 was 2.378 billion for the same purpose. But so if you add all of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's travel in the years in which he was president, it will not get up to what President
Although we can't
need to adjust for inflation.
That's why the exchange rate. That's where I'm going. So it will not get up to this amount. It will be thereabouts vis-a-vis maybe a little bit of half lower than what we've spent here. Now, the argument would be that, oh, dollar exchange rate back then was lesser compared to what we have today. Dollar then was about, if I remember, 100 and something naira to a dollar back then, not getting up to 500. It was when Buhari got into power that dollar rose to about 400 and something. So if you look at 100 and something naira to a dollar back then, compared to 1,600, 1,800.
How much you call it to a dollar?
You find out that there's a difference.
To 163.
Yeah, it was 150 something. It was never up to 200. That's what I'm saying. So it was never up to that. So if you add all of that together, you would say, okay, maybe that's why the cost was a bit low. But whether we like it or not, realities on ground must continue to remind those in power that you can no longer do the things that you thought you could do or your predecessors did. However, this has boiled down to the tax reforms. People are now saying, okay, if you're spending this amount, this much in traveling, then you want to now take tax. What are the taxes going to be used for? To fund the trips or to better fund the issues that the country is faced with? So these are some of the realities.
It would be nice to hear what Nigerians are saying about this.
Yeah.
So let's see what Nigerians are saying about this new development from the government spend data that has been uncovered on the presidency's travel in the last few years. A. Adebanji says the value of this trip hinges on a singular question: has it provided a tangible economic return for Nigerians? If this diplomatic efforts translates into foreign investment and growth, the expenditure is an investment. However, if there is no measurable economic benefit, spending 34 billion naira on foreign travel represents a significant drain in our national resources, says A. Adebanji. General Snow says the presidency burned, he uses the word burned, 34.39 billion on foreign trips in just 2 years, while Nigerians are hungry, unemployed, and living in darkness. This is not governance. It's reckless, shameless extravagance at the expense of the people. How can they spend like this and still look Nigerians in the eye? Ogoguche says, I actually like the way this man spent and enjoys himself. No problem for this country too much. Where is this coming from?
Make you try, they enjoy.
Mr. B says 34.39 billion on travel. That's not just Japa money. That's enough to buy a one-way ticket for every youth in Lagos and still pay for their initial Airbnb. But instead of investing in the grid or the people, we're funding the DMs and per diems and
that is where the
codes.
problem is.
You're tightening your belt and they're expanding their legroom in first class. Country isn't broke, the funds are just stuck in overhead cost folder. That's right,
Mr. B.
If you're telling us to tighten our belt, you also have to respond
Esther codes.
accordingly.
Esther codes. You know.
Achugo Scientific says, 34.39 billion on foreign travel in 2 years is staggering when compared with our national priorities. This amount could fund projects and the construction of primary healthcare centers. Leadership should exemplify sacrifice, especially in an economic crisis. Yeah, he's right. And then for a country that is still borrowing at an alarming level, you would expect them to cut their quota according to their size, but it doesn't seem to face them. They are still going hard.
That's what I said.
I mean, it's like, it reminds me of a friend. He told me a story of his friend that was struggling. And then they had this guy that came from abroad and they went out together. So he gave him mints. You that you are struggling, instead of you to hold your mint and keep some, he said, then he reported to the mutual friend the next day, I had that your guy. Sabi spray money going. So Nigeria's case is like it was stylishly spraying money. You that you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah, that's.
I think it's very important. There have been governments, not just governments around the world. We've seen Lazarus Chakwera. We've seen in Namibia. I think sometime in 2018 when the government banned public travel for a
Lazarus Chakwera had an online meeting. It was a Zoom meeting. He flew his daughter, his family. They went to London. It was when they got to London that they told him that, Your Excellency, this is a Zoom meeting.
I need to take comments from YouTube. Like I did say, we're streaming live, New Central TV live on YouTube. We can see a comment here from Chuka Uchiyama says, seeing the alarming scarce resources Tinubu has made Nigeria spend in his unending global tourism only confirms that what I've always said, that Tinubu only came to power to gallivant and refurbish his health. Moki Chukwemeka says, what has the trips brought? Nothing. We can see only signed MOUs that never come to fruition. Tinubu is living his best years on taxpayers' money and the APC sees nothing wrong with it. And we have Felix Okechukwu says, there must be something very serious and sinister about Nigeria's presidents traveling all over the country. The media should help us look into this. There is something we're not being told. Keep the comments coming. We'll
just to respond to Mokwe Chukwemeka, some of the investments are coming through. I don't know if it's in the form of investments, but his last trip to the Abu Dhabi summit, they did mention
that
an Investopedia summit.
Happening in February.
Yesterday, I think yesterday to 5th or something.
Yes, so it's on in Lagos. Let's hope it's not just a talk shop, because they could go to that Investopedia summit and sign more MOUs in that summit. Let's hope it translates to real investments.
Well, one thing we're not doing on the show this morning is signing MOUs, but we do have top stories to bring your way. So now let's share with you what the top stories are this morning on Breakfast Central. This morning, NNPP debunks report of Kwankwaso Tinubu's secret defection meeting. It seems like Kwankwaso might not be moving to the APC. Court stops labor unions from embarking on planned protests. This seems to be the order of the day. Hoodlums disrupts Labour Party ADC defection event in Lagos. This is not the first time this is happening. Energy security takes center stage as Nigerian International Energy Summit starts in Abuja, and we'll be bringing the front pages of the newspapers. Join us for all these and more.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. The new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, has hit back at a recent report suggesting that its national leader, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, engaged in discussions to defect to the ruling All Progressives Congress. In a statement issued this week, the party dismissed the claims as blatant lies and insisted that Kwankwaso never held talks with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu or any APC representatives about joining the ruling party.
The denial comes amidst political chatter following the defection of Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf from the NNPP to the APC, a move that sparked speculations about the wider realignment ahead of the 2027 general elections. NNPP officials have also condemned the reports as a deliberate attempt to undermine Kwankwaso's image and distract from the party's plans, stressing that his last meeting with President Tinubu was in 2024 and did not involve any discussions of defection. Join us this morning to unpack this and more as a spokesperson of NNPP, Mr. Ladipo Johnson. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Johnson, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central. Yeah, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Good morning to you all.
Good morning. Quite a lot has happened since the last time a lot of water, as they say, has passed under the bridge. We've seen the defection of the Kano State governor. We know the significance of Kano State in the mathematical calculations in Nigeria's electioneering process, and how weighty is it? What's really going on in NNPP, and what's the position of Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso as we speak this morning? Is he staying or is he joining the ruling APC?
Thank you, and good morning once more. As you said, a lot has happened. Of course, you know that we had issues going back and forth with the governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, but at the end of the day, he decided to move to the APC, and that has happened. The party is doing its best to make sure that we're still staying on track towards 2027. That means, as I had told you before, the party at the national level was holding talks with various organizations, political parties, people, etc. And that is still on. Definitely, there's a slight dent in Kano, and they will have to reorganize before the elections. But there's no doubt that a large majority of the Konkosia movement and NNPP have stayed behind. Because what you find is that or what happened actually was that at a stage, the local government chairman, councillors, etc., some of the State House of Assembly members reported to Senator Kwankwaso and some of the leadership that they were being coerced, told to show that they were loyal to the governor, etc. And it was at that time that Senator Kwankwaso said to them that, look, if you're under pressure, then go. You recall that there was a time they said he had done a U-turn and had supported the movement to the APC, and we said, no, that was not what happened. Well, having done that, a lot of the elected officials and some of the appointed officials have followed the governor into the APC because they don't want a witch hunt or what have you. Senator Kwankwaso was like, okay, you can go. Elections around the corner anyway. We're in election stretch. So we'll come back to talk about how the elections will go in 2027. But that is the situation, and as I said, at the national level, we're still on track. Regarding how Senator Kwankwaso is or what he's doing now, yes, he felt deeply disappointed, betrayed. As you know, he has had a long-standing relationship with Abba Kabir Yusuf, who happens to be his in-law. So they've been, since '99, Yusuf, the governor was his PA, and then they went to the Ministry of Defense together, went to the NDDC together, went to, I believe, the Senate together. No, not to the Senate, but when he came back as governor again, second term, he made him the principal private secretary and after 2 years made him appointed him Commissioner for Works. So, and he felt that it was more assuring to have Anambra Kabir Yusuf than what happened with Ganduje, after what happened with Ganduje, which has proven to be wrong now. So you wonder who you can trust in politics, as they say. So that is the situation now. And of course, he is about to make his next move towards 2027. And we wait to see what that will be.
Okay, just to clarify, there is no talks, there have been no talks about moving to the APC, is that correct?
Yes, I had to issue that statement. Then I had to ask him. This was on Saturday. I asked him, I said, look, we saw in the papers yesterday, Friday, I don't want to mention the newspaper, and I know you all know. And they said that he had demanded 20%, demanded this, demanded that. And I had to ask him, have you sat, because he kept telling us he hadn't sat with the president. Have you sat with him lately? He said, no. Now, the last time they sat together was January 2024. I said, did you discuss Defection? He said, no. You know, and you will recall, I don't want to mention the name because I don't want someone to start saying, oh, Radical Johnson said this. You will recall that when one of the first movements we had from one of the prominent members of the House of Reps took place, he moved and said, oh, yes, President Tinubu, this and that. And I asked Senator Ponkozo then. It was in the afternoon. I went to his residence. And he said to me, he said, I'm not a baby. You can't be negotiating behind me. So you see, we have had people within the NNPP. Some were not even Concoursia members who came. He was able to make sure he delivered the tickets to them. They won on the platform of the NNPP/Concoursia. You remember the Senator Kawu Ishmaila and others. And after doing that, I think they're back to where they belong, which is the APC. So that mistake happened, I believe, now with hindsight. But at that time, of course, he was forming a coalition. And because these individuals had issues with Ganduje in the APC at that time, they came over in Kano to join the NNPP. And they won their elections. And now they went back. And you can't blame anyone if he believes in President Tinubu.
Okay.
With them.
I wanted to follow up to the question that I asked you, and thank you for clarifying that you actually sat with Alhaji Rabi Musa Kwankwaso and clearly asked him if he had sat with the president. He said he hadn't sat with him since 2024. Where did these rumors emerge from? I did see where, I don't know if that statement is attributed to you, where it was said that this rumor was probably started by those who wanted to preempt his movement or those who themselves wanted to move to the APC. So I wanted to ask if you can share with us where you think these rumors came from.
That's exactly what I was trying to say, that it would seem, it's conjecture, it would seem that because we kept one at that time, where this story coming from? Oh, they met at the villa, oh, it's almost this and that, they were presidential. And whenever I asked him, he'd say, no, no one had me. The president, not top APC member. So when this all happened, after the movement of the governor of Kano, and I saw articles, some is a local job. I say he deserves what happened, this and that. Oh, in this, very reasonable. Would say give 50% of this.
Unfortunately, network connection issues there. Can you still hear us, sir? Are you there?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right,
can you hear me?
Okay,
Now
yes, we could hear you. I just want to quickly... Yeah, go on.
Go on and complete your thoughts,
No,
Mr. Johnson.
I was just rounding that up. Yes, in fact, if he had said that, it would have been unreasonable. But the man didn't say that.
Okay.
And he didn't sit with any of that. So that's the issue. So we see now that there is this move to make people believe, oh, he's unreasonable, he's this, he's that, he's a hardliner, he's selfish. I read sorts this morning as well. People are taking that story from that newspaper and running with it, drawing conclusions. And that is why we felt, okay, it's important. You won't get as many people reading this, but at least some people will see that, oh, he actually didn't sit with them. And there is this sort of, I call it a conspiracy, to make sure that he is demarketed, as we say, moving towards 2027. But it's all good. It's politics.
Okay, I know this name is a name that you wouldn't want to hear, because the last time we mentioned that name here, you showed your unhappiness with it. But then again, it is what it is, like we usually say. The NNPP, like you always mentioned, has no faction. But again, the name Mr. Boniface is back again in the news this time, citing clearly that he is also a member of the NNPP and celebrating the move of the governor. He's saying that the governor had to leave because of Senator Kwankwaso. Most importantly, he said the governor did not leave because he was selfish, but he left because he just wanted to do what he has to do for the people of Kano. Do you in any way have any fears that this could also start to become what we see in Rivers State, where there's a divide, where the governor is now leading his own team, and then Rabiu Kwankwaso is also trying as much as possible to hold on to the state as well? Bearing in mind that you do have by-elections coming up, especially on February 21.
Yes. Well, there are three parts to this. The first thing is, if you look at the first stage of Bonnie Anambra or one of his acolytes released, it was that the governor has moved from the Kwankwaso, not from the NNPP. You understand? And I remember we sat down, Buba Galadima and Senator Kwankwaso, and I was like, is this man all right? The man says he's gone to the APC, and you say he hasn't moved from the NNPP, he's moved from Kwankwaso. The second message is the one you said. You just said out now that he moved because of Senator Kwankwaso or whatever. But all you need to know is that Boniface Anambra and his cohorts would do anything, you know, if you told them today was the 3rd of February, that Senator Kwankwaso says today is the 3rd of February, they'd say, no, it isn't, you know, so we're used to that. He's still not happy about everything that happened, and it's understandable. But the other part, when you say that, couldn't it be like Rivers? I don't think so, you know, because the governor has left, he's left, and we are still in the party. So it's just like the odd type when we were in the, when I think we were in the APC, and we felt we had to move out because of what happened with President Buhari and everything. And Governor Ganduje remained at that time, and he remained in the APC, and we moved on. And we prepared without any sitting officers, no councillor, no member of the House, nothing. And we won Kano from there, even though it was a government which was part of the government at the center, part of the party at the center. We were able to win. And that is what we said in all humility. And you know why? Because I might not get this in. It's not about Kwankwaso, it's not about NNPP or the Kwankwaso. It's about the people of Kano, which of course, after we said that, then Mr. Governor and Sanusi Bature now started to say he's moving for the people of Kano. But you see, he didn't consult with them. He didn't. And the people out there are saying that, look, we told you we wanted you because we had 8 years of Ganduje and we didn't believe in what the APC did for 8 years. We gave you this mandate, stood by you to the Supreme Court, and now on a platter of gold, you've gone to give it back to them. And they said they'll wait for him at the elections. And it's happened before in Kano. You know, we're talking about late Rimi and all the others. It's happened. Kano is, I don't want to use the word volatile. Kano is different when it comes to politics.
Okay.
They're politically, the masses are politically intelligent. And it shows in their voting pattern.
And talking about the politics in Kano, I know you don't have a crystal ball in front of you, but all doesn't seem to do well. In Paradise, you have your principal, Mr. Kwankwanso. He's not in good terms with his political godson. His political godson has led the platform that got him to power NNPP and decided to jump ship with the ruling All Progressive Congress. How much of a political shift, of a seismic shift, will that be in the 2027 elections and calculations? Does it mean that all NNPP votes would automatically swing towards the ruling party, since the number one, the 001 in Kano, is now a member of the ruling APC? Will Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwanso still hold that influence and sway that he used to have, knowing that his political godson has defected to the ruling APC?
Well, the answer is yes, he'll still hold that sway. And I say it in all humility. You will recall, I think a day or two after the governor defected, there was this visit from members of the Nasarawa local government. And Nasarawa is where you have government house, some GRA-like area, you understand, that local government, out of the 44 local governments. My brother, the crowd that came to Miller Road, that's Kwankwanso's residence, was more than the crowd at the Coronation Hall when the governor was defected. That was from one local government. You see, as I said earlier, it isn't, I'm glad it happened now and not closer to the elections. It happened now. If it had happened some 2 months to elections, then I'm sure the state would have dropped. But now I know for certain now, again in humility, by God's special grace, I know that wherever we are, whatever we are at that time, when I say whatever we are, that means the NNPP or Kwankwasia movement. Whatever, because there's still a possibility of a merger, an alliance, or whatever. Whatever we are, I believe that the people of Kano, already the sentiments are flowing. They feel disappointed, betrayed by the governor and those who have gone with him, because they had this thing about the APC and about the facts that inflation, etc., that is there in the north. So I think the way the politicians think is different from the way the masses think. You know, I especially regarding the situation in the country, the economic and situation and security, etc. But time will tell. And as I say, I know that things might still happen regarding whether we'll be in an alliance or we're moving anywhere or whatever with anyone. But whichever way we move, whatever we do, will still determine Kano in all humility, because it isn't about us. They have a system there. It's about the people there. And let me say something very quick. You will, for everyone that is given a ticket and contests for House of Assembly or House of Reps, you can be sure that there are about 20 other people who want the same seat. So yes, we've lost those who were in that team. Some of them, we've lost them as per moving with the governor. But I assure you that those constituencies within the shortest, in fact, Senator Kwankwanso made a statement the other day. He said most of the assembly people or House of Reps cannot even go into their constituencies to rally people around, because it was a system that picked them. They were not, you understand, they have this collegiate system of politics in Kwankwasia and in the NNPP now, and in Kano. That is the system they operate. The leaders in the area will come and say, look, this is the man we want for House of Assembly. This is the one we want for reps. Because you see, you may have heard this, Senator Kwankwaso doesn't spend much money when it comes to politics. He doesn't spend much money, especially within the party. He won't. If you want to come for the rally, come. They will mobilize you. So all those crowds you see, I always tell my friends, when I go to Kanu and they see the crowds, they don't pay them. They come. They're passionate people. So it's different, but we'll see what will happen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson, for speaking with us. And we do wish the NNPP well as we proceed, and most importantly, ahead of the by-elections as well. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's move on now to our next story. This morning, Nigeria has once again taken center stage in global energy discussions as policymakers, industry leaders, and investors converge on Abuja for the Nigeria International Energy Summit 2026, held under the theme Energy for Peace and Prosperity, Securing Our Shared Future. The summit focuses on energy security, investment, and sustainable development. Our report captures key highlights of the event. Take a look.
The Nigeria International Energy Summit brings together top government officials and sector stakeholders to chart a clearer path for Nigeria's oil and gas future while balancing economic growth and stability. Discussions centered on boosting production, attracting investment, and positioning Nigeria as a reliable global energy supplier.
Nigeria's opportunities are enormous. The field is big enough for both Nigerian companies and EPC companies to operate at a globally competitive, price. But what we found was a situation where we promoted middlemen. We didn't really grow the capacity of even Nigerian companies.
The gas value chain offers unparalleled opportunities for job creation, industrial clustering, and regional integration. These opportunities, however, can be sustained if local companies possess these requisite skills, technology, financing, and governance standards to compete at that scale.
Beyond policy direction, attention also turned to infrastructure development, local content growth, and strengthening the midstream and downstream sectors to drive inclusive prosperity. Stakeholders say collaboration remains key to securing Nigeria's shared energy future.
True local content is not defined by percentages on paper. It is measured by the depth of domestic capability, the sophistication of local supply chains, the quality of jobs created, and the ability of Nigerian and African firms to compete first regionally and ultimately globally.
To understand what beyond compliance truly means, we must reflect on three pillars that determine the continent's destiny: competence, capacity utilization, and collaboration.
As discussions continue, stakeholders say outcomes from the summit are expected to shape key policies, investments, and partnerships critical to long-term growth and stability. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
Very interesting reports there by Sumaya Abubakar. Don't forget, we have more updates concerning the event. But let's tell you what's coming up next here on Breakfast Central. Coming up next, court stops labor unions from embarking on planned protests. Hoodlums disrupt Labour Party ADC defection event in Lagos. And digital skills acquisitions, federal government to train 10 million Nigerians.
You're welcome back. The FCT Police Command has issued a stern warning to the Nigeria Labour Congress against its planned protests in the Federal Capital Territory. The command insists that such demonstrations could disrupt public order and security. The NLC had fixed today, Tuesday, to protest over unpaid allowances to workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA.
The FCT Police Command in a statement said intelligence reports gathered revealed plans by non-state actors to infiltrate and hijack the protests for purposes inimical to public peace and security. The NLC maintains that peaceful protests are a constitutional right and would go ahead with its protests as planned. This clash raises critical questions about democracy, civic liberties, and governance in Nigeria. Today, we'll be unpacking the police's position, the labor movement's response, and what it means for ordinary Nigerians already grappling with economic hardship. Join us this morning to discuss this is the Public Relations Officer of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Comrade Kabiawo Balao Adegboyega. Comrade Adegboyega, thanks for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to the studio.
Now, Comrade, the FCT Police Command says the planned protest could destabilize the FCT. They said following intelligence-driven operations, they've heard that non-state actors are planning to hijack the protest and foment trouble. Do you think these are legitimate concerns, or it's just a pretext for the police authorities to prevent the, I beg your pardon, the Labour Congress from protesting?
Yes, like you rightly said, good morning. Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to Nigerians. Good morning to Nigerian workers. Yes, the planned protest by the Nigerian Labour Congress and the TUC in solidarity with the workers in Abuja, there's a Joint Union Action Congress Committee. It's a fundamental right for the workers as regards unpaid allowances over years. And then the security reports debarring us from this peaceful protest is just a bid to stop the labor action. We felt it's just a pretext in order to dissuade us from institutional fundamental human rights. And so we are not in tandem with it. We felt it's just a way of dissuading us from doing our normal civic rights. So we don't believe that the security report is genuine enough. That's our position.
Okay, so are you still going on with the protests? Are you defying the court order? Are you still going on with the protest?
The organized labor are resolute, and they are insisting that they cannot infringe on their fundamental human rights, and so the planned protest is still scheduled to go on.
Okay, let's bring in another guest. We have Comrade Ismail, who is joining us. Comrade Ismail Adejumo, who is the Public Relations, Nigeria Labour Congress Public Relations Officer. Good morning, Comrade. Thank you for joining us this morning. We've just, in our conversation with Mr. Bolao, he said that organized labor has insisted that despite the court order, that the protest will go on today. Is that correct?
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. Quite all right. We are following ahead with the protest as scheduled, because the attempt to use a court order to stop the peaceful protest planned is a major distraction to put aside the main focus of the labor movement, the labor center, the NLC and TUC. We absolutely resolved, and we are fortunate ahead by the grace of God as planned to have a peaceful protest, because it is a constitutional right of kind of. And I want to clear that has there been any organized protest anchored by NLC or TUC that have been hijacked in the history of this country? I want a reference as to make this one a security threat for workers to express their legitimate right of demanding their rights from their employer, and roping it with the protest of the Shiites and all this. This is a mere distraction, and we are not bothered with this. The leadership have firmly resolved. They have issued a directive to all the affiliates to be fully mobilized and stage a peaceful protest. This is a constitutional and a fundamental right of all citizens of this country. The issue of overriding public interest as a result of security is not tenable at this very point in time. If the Minister of FCT have been very, very proactive he has listed, why will he quickly rush to the industrial court and obtain an order restraining us that compel police now to see it as a threat to national security? They should do the needful. The unpaid allowance of workers, wage award is a benefit that's supposed to have been paid almost 2 years ago to workers across the federal civil service. They are delaying it. We are having pending about 3 months wage award to be paid. Apart from the FCT workers, so many workers are waiting for this wage award to be paid, and we are in the new year of a new review of the minimum wage. And we are still talking about wage award granted to cushion the effect of the process that led to the negotiation and conclusion of the last minimum wage. I think it's an aberration. We should be very, very sensitive about the plight of workers. Workers are not happy. We are living in penury. Everybody is struggling to survive, and we are talking about security threat because of the organized labor. The government is to stage a protest. I think it's very, very unfortunate.
Okay, just to confirm, you've talked about the plight of workers, which is the reason why this protest is scheduled to happen today. However, the Minister of the FCT has questioned the motive of organized labor. It says that the Minister's Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media, Larry Olainka, via his ex-handle on Sunday, said that the FCTA workers received their January salaries last Friday with 1 month payment of the 5-month arrears of the wage award. Is that correct, comrade?
Absolutely, it's a result of the initial 7 days ultimatum that led to the strike action that was embarked on before the court intervened. Out of the 5-month wage award, they only pay 2 as by record, and the remaining 3 months pending. They should give a firm commitment and timeline of when they are going to pay it. It should not be what we should be dreaming of getting at any time, at no time. So they must come up with a commitment and be honest in honoring agreements. Apart from the wage award, the issue of pension arrears is also there that they are clamoring for. So many other issues that pertain to the welfare and well-being of working people. And you want them to be productive. You have to give them what is due to them. Workers not be waiting to get the reward for their wage, the wage, which is the entitlement for their labor. They should pay. Then everything will go on smoothly and harmoniously. We don't enjoy using the instrumentality of protest or strike action before we press home our demand. If government is doing the needful at appropriate level, there won't be any industrial crisis or disharmony. We want peace. We want this government to be forced to deliver on their campaign promises. Already know. The Minister of FCT, they're going up and down, attending to the political activities and the priority that is supposed to administer as a minister. That is why the labor movement, the 2 labor centers, unanimously resolved to back this protest in a solidarity with our colleagues under the Debunks. So the issue of threat or whatever is not needful. They do not do the needful. They do the needful. Everybody just work peacefully and productive. That is demand. It's not too much from us. Demand of the city. And the issue of Wesu is also there. There have been strikes since November last year. The government must quickly resolve this issue because the issue of health of Nigerians is very, very, very paramount and of great concern to citizens. They should look at it and resolve it amicably.
Okay.
We are planning to sit down with the government for the new minimum wage negotiation that is going to start this year.
Thank you very much, Comrade Adejumo. I would like to bring Comrade Adegboyega back into the conversation.
Okay.
Now, Comrade Adegboyega, I mean, for the organized labor to reach this point, it means that talks have broken down. What was the last communication with authorities of the Federal Capital Territory with regards to this wage awards? And was the negotiations and discussions, of course, they were not fruitful. That's why you've decided to go on industrial strike. And number 2, are you willing to take responsibility for any breakdown of law and orders, as the courts have said this protest should not hold? And do you think the security agencies are just using insecurity as an excuse to prevent labor from protesting? Those are my questions.
Okay, thank you, the moderator. The organized labor is resolute, and we are of the opinion that the FCT authority, particularly the minister, is always grandstanding, and he has not been attending to workers' plight. And so we are sure that this protest will not snowball into any disruption of security in FCT. Rather, we have organized a protest that will ensure that it is not hijacked by any hoodlum. We have our own security details that have assured us that it's going to be a peaceful protest, devoid of any hoodlum hijack and whatsoever. Just like Comrade Adejuma said, the issue of government not acceding to requests on time has snowballed into another crisis that government is not giving the required attention, and that's the issue of GovSpend. The GovSpend strike, which happens to be in the health sector, we are surprised and amazed at the level of indifference of the government in not attending to this request that has pervaded close to 3 months thereabout now. And what are these demands that they are asking for? It's just about breach of collective bargaining by the government. The USO has been on strike on the same premise that the Abuja workers are not being paid their 3 months arrears of their wage award. The USO is talking about denial of their salary adjustment since 2014, 2019, 2009, that the collective bargaining agreed that any adjustment on the health salary structure will be concomitant to both structures, that's the commerce and the conheads. And this has culminated into a strike that we are amazed that government is not giving the due attention until it snowballed into crisis, until it snowballed into protest, and that and these are what we are trying to avoid. But this protest is a premise on the fact that the workers are being ignored, and the only way we could get the requisite attention is to go on a peaceful protest, and we are quite resolute that it will not snowball into any violence or hijacked by hoodlums. We are peaceful workers fighting for our rights, and we believe that the FCT authority should accordingly meet with the workers, the worker leadership, and resolve this issue that will not warrant labor centers going on the streets. We are responsible workers in Nigeria, and we want to be at our duty post, working not at the protest ground, carrying placards. So and that's why we felt that the other issue that has not been attended to, that might even lead into snowball, and then you take cognizance that health issue is an essential issue, and that Nigerians are being denied of health care all over the country, from all over the institutions in Nigeria. The health workers, the publics are not being attended, and their health is deteriorating. And so these are issues that we felt that government should take a bold step and address this issue head on, instead of this rigmarole and dilly-dallying. We felt that this is not right. This is not right for Nigerian citizens to be denied of their fundamental right to universal health coverage. Denial of the health sectors working, the health institution have been closed down for almost over 2 months now, and nothing tangible is being coming out of that bargaining and negotiation.
Okay.
We keep going back and forth on on why these allowances should be paid, and it should not be so. So we are resolute that this strike, this protest will not culminate into any untoward circumstances.
All right, comrades, there's this notion that the NLC, TUC is now politicized. These were statements also made from the camp of the FCT minister. What do you say to that? And secondly, do you also believe that rather than go for this protest, you need to have another dialogue, maybe with the FCT minister, even though he has said that he cannot pay all the monies because he still needs money to carry on infrastructure and put infrastructures in place. What's your take on all of this? First off, like I mentioned, do you think the NLC TUC has been politicized, as mentioned from the FCT and ministers' side? And secondly, maybe another sit-down will do. What say you?
The NLC, the organized labor, is non-partisan when it comes to politics. And so insinuations about NLC, TUC having been politicized is just a bit to distract attention from the subject matter. We felt that any protest or any discussion at the end of the day will still be at the round table. We are open to further discussions and negotiation with the FCT minister if he is ready and willing to negotiate and discuss like as required within the tenets of labor principle. We don't want a minister that will grandstand and be behaving larger than life. The FCT minister has tendencies to be authoritarian and militant, and this is what labor centers would not agree with. If peradventure is ready to negotiate as appropriate, the labor centers, the organized labor, the leadership would accede to that discussion and go back to the round table and fully discuss on how to go out of this quagmire. We are not politicized, we are just labor centers after the interests of Nigerian workers. That's the brief about that.
All right. I'm still following through with the earlier question my colleague asked about the politicization or alleged politicization of organized labor. Comrade Ismail, the FCT minister had said he'd paid 2 months, remaining 3 months. From 2023 to 2024, what we've seen is that there have been states that have implemented the wage award partially. Some have paid, one-offs. Some haven't paid at all. But reports are that there are more states that haven't paid at all and have moved more into the minimum wage conversation and are focusing on that. Why is the FCT the particular case, or the particular focus? And, can you give us a picture of what it looks like in other states? Comrade Ismail Ishola, please.
Yes, I'm with you. Thank you very much. Attending to the issue of our payment of the wage award, I told you earlier on it was 5 months that was pending. But as a result of the struggle, in Labour's palace, we believe freedom is not served a la carte. We believe we should always struggle for our rights. And that is the only language we understand. And that is why the labor movement will always resolve and come out, formidable to press home our demand. The workers have organized themselves under the Joint Union Action Committee, under the FCT, to ensure that as much as the federal capital is supposed to be to not to have paid the wage award and still dragging and misplacing priorities, then they have to come out and demand for their rights. And that is what the two labor centers.
I get where you're coming from. You've been able to establish this, I believe. I think what I'm asking is, what is the position of other states? Is the FCT the only state that hasn't paid the wage award? Are the other states paying as well?
It is the responsibility of every state. Based on the question, from the available information before me, I cannot ascertain outrightly the number of states that have complied or states that have not complied substantially. But what is expected of every responsible government at any level is to honor agreements and do the needful to forestall any industrial crisis or disharmony. So if the FCT as a template now have not done the needful at this time, which has warranted the workers there to come and solicit for the support of the labor sector to press to their demand, that is out of place. They should place priority in the wage award of workers. The wage award we are talking about is as of the last minimum wage negotiation for crying out loud.
So I hear
it's
you.
deleted.
I hear you. I hear you completely. Let's take a very quick break because I want us to talk about this. We'll come back after this break and then I'll expand further on what I'm seeking to establish with that question. Let's go on a break. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at the planned protest by organized labor scheduled to hold today in the Federal Capital Territory against court orders that have been given to disregard such or to set aside such. We're joined by Comrade Ismail Adejumo, who is the Public Relations Officer of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Lagos State. And we also have the Public Relations leader of the Trade Union Congress, Comrade Kabiao Bolahon Adegboyega. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Comrade Adegboyega Bolahon, the question I was trying to drive at is, the FCT Minister's camp, still speaking about the potential of this being politicized, has asked how many states have actually implemented this wage award. He alleges that less than 20 states have actually implemented the wage award. Some have implemented partially, some have implemented one-offs, and most have moved between 2023 to 2024 to focusing more on the 70,000 naira minimum wage as opposed to focusing on the 35,000 naira wage award. So the question is, why, if many states are not paying the wage award, and I'm not saying that the states shouldn't pay, I'm asking, why was the FCT chosen as the one to sort of make a scapegoat to an example of?
All right, thank you. In labor, just like Comrade Adejumo said, you have continuous engagement with your employers. And if you have that clear understanding that a discussion are not going hurry, and just like the FCT minister alluded that other states, some states have not acceded to paying completely the wage award to their workers. That might not be far from the truth, but those states not protesting culminated in the fact that they have clear understanding with their government that the wage award is not a denial, it's just a face-off arrangement to paying. And they have clear understanding and agreement with the relevant state government that they will pay. And so, but if you have this understanding or this insinuation, and then the position of FCT minister not willing to pay the wage award, rather is deterring it that the minimum wage should be the primary focus. And you recall that even the minimum wage, there are some states paying well above the minimum wage. Take Lagos, for example, that is paying 85,000, and some states even are paying way above the minimum wage. And you will recall that the minimum wage review is in the offing soon, that another review will be called for in no distant time. And so if we are still battling with the wage award that ought to have been paid, it shows that the FCT minister has not adequately engaged the workers for them to have clear understanding with him. But the other state that they are not having focused or protest is because the labor centers are having discussions that will ensure that that wage award is paid. Right. It's not that the wage award is not going to be paid, but either because of economic realities of understanding with the government, they have decided not to go on protest because they have the assurances that that award will eventually be paid. It might be delayed. But the ministers, the FCT home, culminated because there were discussion broke down. And once you have the discussion that has not been yielding fruitful, it will instigate and stimulate reactions like a protest. And that's why the FCT workers, from the toga and the tone of the FCT minister in his characteristic self, felt that if they do not institute this Forex action, which is their tool of last resort, the FCT minister might not take it serious as a responsibility that he has to fulfill. All right. And that's why that issue culminated, snowballed into a peaceful protest. All right, it's not coming from the fact that the labor centers has been politicized. It is far from that truth.
Well, in a few minutes, or do I say hours, we will find out how this turns out. You both have said that the protest will continue regardless because it is your fundamental human right. Well, we'll see what happens next, and we hope that both parties, all aggrieved parties, can come to a safe middle. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.
And wish you all the best. Let's now move away to other political conversations. Over the weekend, hoodlums disrupted the Labour Party and the African Democratic Congress ADC defection event in the Alimosho local government area of Lagos State. The event was organized by the parties to officially mark the defection of Labour Party members in Alimosho into the ADC. News Central's correspondent Israel Eforobo has a report on this, and then we'll take a look at it very quickly before we'll come back to have a detailed conversation about it with our guests in the studio.
Peaceful quickly turned chaotic. The official decamping of the Labour Party Alimosho structure to the African Democratic Congress was interrupted after suspected thugs invaded the area.
Everybody knows quite all right that the formation of ADC as a party is a coalition, you know, an involvement of so many parties coming into a body of a party to form a particular structure. So that's the same thing the Labour Party in Alimosho, the Labour Party structure in Alimosho tries to do today. And it was supposed to be a mega event, but unfortunately the APC talks came in to disrupt the entire program.
Now we are here, we met miscreants, we met thugs here, beating people. You know, it's very unfortunate that we're having this kind of nonsense in this country.
Organizers allege the attackers were affiliated with the All Progressives Congress APC, a claim yet to be independently verified.
We are very sure those thugs that invaded the hall are thugs of the APC, because we hear them saying, oh, how come UADC will be here? This is our territory. This is APC territory. You know, all those kind of things. You don't need to be told.
Police from the Demo division later arrived to restore order, but the ceremony had already been disrupted.
You can imagine the time the police arrived. After about 1 hour, when the whole exercise has been concluded, when damages has been made already.
We want the APC-led federal government, particularly the president, to caution his people, because Nigeria is made up of political parties. That is what they call democracy. The guys that came here today were shouting that during 2023, this is what made them to fail the election, and they won't wait to see that again. If they are good at what they are doing, at least there's no point fighting others.
The incident has renewed concerns over political violence as parties reposition ahead of future elections.
Well, with few months to the 2027 general elections here in Nigeria, the ugly head of political violence has once again been spotted here in Alimosho area of the state. Nigerians are asking, are we safe in our own country? And is this the right thing to happen at this time in our political history? The big question is, will the 2027 elections be violence-free? Nigerians are hoping that that will be the case. In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Eforobo.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. Now, to further expand the conversation, talking about what happened, you know, at the defection event in Alimosho local government area of Lagos State, we have the Lagos State Coordinator, Obedient Movement, Ife Salako. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining us, Ife.
Ife, what happened on Saturday? They said they don't want people to move to another party. Is that what happened? What's the true position?
Well, so we had planned to move to ADC, and this is the Labour Party in Alimosho. I broke up that arrangement. The chairman of the party, the secretary, and the complete structure of the party had decided that they wanted to move to ADC. And so we had planned this event in the compound of the office, you know, the former office of Labour Party, which is now the ADC office, you know, in the compound, because we felt like the office may not take the number of people that would come in. We're expecting about 500 people or more. So there is a space inside the compound where we had planned to use for this event. So, and I am giving you the, you know, timeline of what happened. And then towards the evening, some aggrieved members of the Labour Party, you know, a few members, you know, who didn't really move with the the structure, with the main structure. You know, we heard that they were here to come and make some troubles here and there. So, opposite, you know, adjacent the office is the Area M command, the police command. And so we said, let's meet with them, let's talk to them about this, and just get to know that, oh, we're doing this here, and then just in case. And then we went to meet with the area commander, and then we had sent a letter earlier, which she had approved. So when we now said, oh, let's just pay courtesy visits, we got to our office and then we got talking. It was in the middle of that conversation that she got to know that we were defecting from Labour Party to ADC. Immediately she heard ADC, her countenance changed. I was like, ADC? And then she called the assistant to bring back the letter. And right there in our presence, she cancelled the approval. And it's like, you guys didn't tell me it's, you know, this and that and that. It's ADC and they want to know this cannot happen. This was the night of, the night before the event. And then she said to us that we should go to the commissioner of police to go and get approval, that she has no right to give an approval for such event. I said, well, like, I told her point blank, I said, madam, we're not actually
seeking for approval, because the Nigerian constitution guarantees you freedom of association.
I told her.
We're just being cautious.
I said, madam, we're not asking, we're not seeking for approval to hold this event. We're here to just inform the police, that we are holding a peaceful event here. In case there is any form of disorder, please come and protect us. That's what we're here for. And if you're not providing your security, no problem. But we're going to have our event. So we had the conversation and we left, but right after we left, I went on for a couple of other things, and then I got information that she came to the venue of event and then was telling the event planners that this event must not hold. I put a call across to her again.
On what grounds?
On what ground? Thank you. I put a call across to her again. I'm talking about the area commander of Area M, you know, Madam Tokumbo, you know. I called her, I said, madam, this is our civic responsibility. It is our right, constitutional right, to gather and join. And then when she came, and then I asked her a question. I said, madam, do I need the police commissioner's consent for me to join any party? Forget ADC. For me to join any party of my choice. I don't think I need the commissioner's consent to join any party, just like I don't need his consent to belong to any religious group.
To go to church on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, I don't need to tell the commissioner that I'm going to church on Sunday. And then she was like, no, this is above me. The commissioner is the only one that can give approval. And then I tried to make calls to see if we could. This was Friday night. The following day was Saturday. So, I mean, apparently we couldn't reach the commissioner, as he said. But we were determined to go with her because I was sure that, I mean, we don't need anybody. We don't need anybody's consent.
You've not violated anything.
And then the next thing, the following morning, she had sent, you know, number of policemen, you know, their vans all over the place, asking people not to enter the place. This place is a complex where other businesses happen. And then they stopped people from going into the place to have their businesses, and for us, you know, to. But you could stop us from holding our events. Eventually, hoodlums came. Now, as at that night, immediately after we had this conversation with them, the next thing we started hearing that the APC people in that area, they've gotten, you know, the information that we're going to do this event. Up to now, I'm still trying not to believe or wrap my head around the fact that it was because we spoke to the police that the APC now got to know that we're going to hold this event. Because it was actually between us. We kept this information between our people. And the next thing, eventually, they came, they vandalized, you know, some of the properties there. This was at the main place where we wanted to have the event. And then at some point, we decided that, okay, the Omoluabi faction of the ADC, they were having another event at Egbeda. So this initial place is Idimu. They were having their event at Egbeda, and then we said, oh, since it's Omoluabi, it's still our people, let's move to where they are having the event. You know, they've had the event, they're done. And then again, as we were moving, the police also got to know that we're going to Egbeda. Before you know, hoodlums came to Egbeda, and that was where they even, I mean, this was where your people got to record all the things that happened. You know, that's where they came with machetes and all to attack people. Funny enough, the Egbeda events place had like two-story building. It's like a two-story building. So the lower part of it is used for church activities. So, and you know, because these hoodlums they don't have any sense, they don't think.
And
they
some of them are under the influence.
So they thought the religious gathering was ag, and then they attacked those people.
Hey?
Most of our people were actually on the first floor.
Okay, the first floor.
And so they met some of our people outside too, but the majority of the people they attacked were the people having the church goers who were having their own church service there. And, they left. But
where was the police in all of this?
So after this happened, they're like 30 minutes later, the police arrived. After the hoodlums had done what they wanted to do. But in all of this, that same day, I had like 2 different events. I had one in Ibejuleki in the morning. This event was meant to hold by 3 p.m. So I had gone for the event at Ibejuleki and I was heading back. So I was taking different calls. But at the end, I felt to myself that nobody is going to stop me from what I wanted to do. So I went to make arrangement for a makeshift, place, call the people that I could trust, the people that matters, give them direct instruction, come to Suzo place and wait there, somebody will lead you to where we are. And then we're able to gather the major stakeholders, the chairman and the executive of the Labour Party, the chairman and the executive of the ADC, and then we're able to now find a makeshift event place to, hold our defection. Nobody is going to stop us from doing the right thing in this country. Not the Nigerian police, not the APC.
This defection issue is starting to become a problem. I do recall sometime last year, when a bona fide member of the Labour Party who ran under the Labour Party for the 2023 presidential
Rosvival
was also trying to hold an event like that, and he was attacked. His team, his camera crew, up until date, the police have not done justice by bringing to account those who perpetrated those acts.
And the police denied that as well.
Yes,
they refuted a lot of claims. There was also a church involved. I think it was, I've forgotten the name of it. Gospel Christ Mission.
Yes.
That was supposed to accommodate about 4,000 people.
Exactly.
So there was a church involved as well.
And here we are again. The same incident is playing out again. Same pattern. Are we sure 2027 is going to be a smooth sail, or are we going to expect?
And I mean, since they're the ruling party, what are they really afraid of? If they think they're so popular, why can't people just go about their business? It's not even voting yet. People are just organizing, talking as responsible citizens in a democratic country. And you see these disruptions, and the police seems to have taken sides in all of this. Where's the remedy?
I mean, it's a glaring fact that is staring at all of us in the face, and we just don't want to admit it, that the APC is a colossal failure who have nothing to campaign with than to, resort of violence and, attacks and all sort of propaganda, that they could use. But, the problem is using the state apparatus, getting the police involved in this whole mess. There is nothing, there is no way. I'm saying it on TV.
Hold on, one second, you said getting the police involved.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an express instruction that the police should act in this
exactly
way,
what I was going to say?
Doing it out
I
of their
am
own
going to the office of the police commissioner. I'm going to sit with police commissioner of this Lagos, and I'm going to ask him to say, Oga, should we ADC members, should we not do anything again in Lagos? Is there an instruction from the president to you that you must not allow ADC to hold any events in Lagos?
If you ask that question, do you ever think that the Lagos Commissioner of Police would ever say that I mean, I'm not saying that that has happened, but we don't see the possibility of Commissioner of Police coming to tell you that the president gave an express instruction that the ADC should not hold anything.
But it's a valid question.
Even in September, when this happened last year.
You have not taken account of the ridiculous things that police and other states executives and all have said in this country. You have not. See, the way we're running this country, right, is unheard of. It's unimaginable. The way this country is going. How can you tell me? How can you, a police, commander, tell me that I have to get an express permission from a police commissioner for me to move from one party to another? This is my right, and right there ingrained in our constitution, that I have the right to associate with any group or
do you plan to
even cultists in this country, they gather together peacefully. Cultists. And you're saying political party members cannot gather.
What's the next step for ADC in Lagos? Do you plan to make a formal petition to the Commissioner of Police and to document everything that happens for posterity's sake, and to also see if any remedial actions will be taken? Because the police, the area commander for Area M, she acted unprofessionally. Oh, yes. And the failure to protect you and also prevent people from going about their daily duties. There's so many breaches of the law that took place on Saturday. Do you plan to make a petition and make it formal?
Yes, in all fairness to the police commander at Area M, I don't blame her. She's acting on an instruction because there's no way she would say she does not have the right to do that. She does not have the constitutional right to do that when she does not have that express command from our boss, the police commissioner. So the buck stops at the police commissioner's table. And like I said, we are going to put up a direct petition, take it to the office of the police commissioner, and then state it clearly that, sir, what are the rights that you want to avail us from the Constitution? Which ones can we take now? Which ones should we not take going forward? Because we have APC in government now, and then we cannot do anything. No political organization can do anything. So let us know what we can and what we cannot do. We're going to put up a petition to the office of the police commissioner in Lagos, and then get clarity on these things, because this kind of madness cannot persist.
Let's also talk about what the reality looked like on that day. The NAN had alleged that there were about 100 thugs who were wielding cutlasses, machetes. Yeah. Can you confirm what that day looked like, and if there were any injuries, if there were any lives lost? No.
So no life lost. There were injuries inflicted, through cutlasses and all the things that they came with. I can't ascertain the number of people that were there, because I wasn't there. I was in transit while all of this was happening. And of course, my people were telling me that, oh, don't come, they are looking for you, they are calling your name, I mean, of course, we're all going to die one day. So that's not even the list of my own worries at this point in time. So I keep saying it. The reason I joined politics is that I felt that this country is going to kill me if I don't do something to stop all the things that are happening. So instead of just dying by a snake bite, right, I would rather do politics that would correct this kind of situation. So for some of us, we are driven by a purpose that is above their imagination and what they can comprehend. So we are not scared of them. We are going to go ahead and do what we're supposed to do. So, a couple of them came and then they did all they could, but then we know that, and we are sure, I'm saying it on TV, we are sure that they are APC thugs, because they were saying it here that this was why they lost the election in 2023, and they are not going to allow it to happen in 2027. Nobody, no other party can hold anything in Lagos. This is APC territory.
Okay. Also, when the police came, because you did mention that the police arrived.
Yes.
Were there any arrests made?
No. Not one.
So what did they come for? Sightseeing?
You said it.
What does this portend for Nigerians?
Other opposition political parties.
Everyone is shouting, come out, 2027, come out.
Yeah.
And you are seeing this. What does this portend for the future, especially in 2027? Because primaries will kick off very soon.
It just shows that the only thing that we have a dictator at the ends of affairs of this country. We have someone who cannot take 1/100 of what he has dosed out to other politicians. If the PDP, when the PDP was at the ends of affairs of this country, if the PDP had acted, with this level of intimidation, would there be an APC today? And so we need to realize and see that, we cannot run a country like this. It doesn't make sense. This is not democracy. If we want to, practice democracy, let us practice democracy. If we know that we want to go back to the days of, dictatorship, let us go and be prostrating in the morning to the king in Aso Rock.
Okay, but if you say you're going to sit down with the Commissioner of Police,
yes.
What do you hope will come out of that meeting? And what should be the next steps to ensure that, because what we're seeing is something that it happened in September last year with Badebo Roads Viver, when him and a number of people were trying to officially decamp to the ADC rather. Nothing happened. Nothing came out of it. We don't know that any arrests were made. We don't know that any people were made to face the law. Yeah. I don't even know if they took this case to court. So is this something that you're looking to charge to court? How do you expect that this be resolved to ensure that it doesn't happen again?
So, I wonder what we'll take out of it is the words of the police commissioner, right? To say that these and these are what you expect us to do. You want us to hold the event. You want us to inform you 3 months before we hold the event. Is that what you want, sir? Let us know. So 3 months before we hold our event, we will come to your office and put down and prostrate and say, please, sir, we want to hold our events 3 months' time. Is it approved? We get our approval. So anywhere we now go to, if any police commander is telling us that, your guy already said we should do 3 months and we have done it, this is the letter, please call him. Do you get? So we want him to tell us how we are going to do it. And it's not going to be me alone. The stakeholders of the party of ADC in Lagos, we are going to mobilize ourselves. We're going to sit down with him and we're going to have this conversation because we need him. He is at the center of all of this. The Badebo's issue, it was also the commissioner that was mentioned. For every other ones that happened, they keep telling you, go to the commissioner, go to the... So I think it's high time we went to this man and then sit with him and say, sir, what do we do? What is the way forward? So you let us know. And then so when we get to our local government, when we get to our senatorial district, we don't encounter these issues again. Let's address it once and for all.
On the other side of the debate, the ordinary Nigerians that are disillusioned with the way things are going in Nigeria and want to join a political party or the other, not necessarily the ruling party, what protective mechanisms are there for that? Because they're listening to this conversation, they read the newspapers, they've seen what's happening, especially in Lagos State. Our focus today is Lagos State. You have machete-wielding thugs. You have a police that seems to look the other way when it involves the ruling party. And they're discouraged by what is going on. What's your message to them? And in what ways do you plan to also protect yourselves? Because, you're not going to allow anybody intimidate you and inflict physical harm on you in one way or the other because you're going about your civic responsibilities.
So, the first step is that we have to do everything legal in our own way. We are not thugs. We are not criminals. We can't say, because some people are acting like animals, we should actually act in the same way or manner. So we are going to seek every legal and constitutional, right and order for us to go about our business the way we could. The police, the Nigerian police, must know, and we are not going to flinch on that. The Nigerian police must know that their job is to protect Nigerians, not to protect APC, not to protect a political party members. it is to protect Nigerians. And the day they make us know that they are not interested in us, in protecting us that are members of other parties, then we'll start looking for alternative security arrangements. But we are going to follow through with the right thing and make sure we do the right thing at every point in time.
Okay, we will wait and see how things turn out. And just to confirm, is there like a general sense of what the leadership in the ADC is saying about this? Have any of them spoken yet?
Well, I mean, at the moment, they are taking account of all of these things. And of course, like I said, there are consultations going on. But I know very well that, with some of the stakeholders of ADC in Lagos, we are going to meet with the police commissioner in this Lagos. Because this madness really is not happening in other states, as it is in Lagos. So we are going to sit with the police commissioner, and everything keeps coming back. All fingers keep pointing to the police commissioner. So we're going to do that first, and then we'll take up from there.
I mean, like Vevoro said, nobody has monopoly to madness, right? We do hope that this will not escalate to turn Lagos into a violent and chaotic space.
Because, I mean, these things happened September last year, yes. And the message that this was what happened in 2023, that's not how democracy works.
When they came out with canes and were flogging people, and then we're threatening people going from house to house saying, don't come out. Or if you, and then you are the polling unit and they're telling you, if you're not going to vote for this,
you should leave this place.
Yes, speaking about that, just to get clarity, I don't know if you've heard about that. There was a report that ADC members were allegedly being pressured to participate in the ongoing APC registration, e-registration.
It's not just APC members. I mean,
ADC members.
It's not just ADC members, rather. The Bola Ahmed led administration and the political understanding that he has is that you must coerce everybody to be part of you and must, So civil servants are now being forced to join APC and then provide their NIN for what?
Something as personal.
Something as personal. I mean, it is that we have a Ministry of Information who has my NIN, right? And who can approve of this, who would allow a political party to start extracting people's personal information in that way. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
We are going to reach out to the APC national leadership to come and speak on this and clear the air, because what we do not want to hear or see is that the rights of citizens to freedom of association is being infringed on. We're also going to reach out to the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State to come and have their rights
I will appreciate it, please.
Here on Breakfast.
Please reach out to me.
They do oblige us. Thank you very much, Professor Alako, for joining us. All right, this is still Breakfast Central. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, it will be Breakfast Headlines. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. It's time for the review of the newspapers, and joining us this morning as the publisher of the niche newspaper, Ikechukwu Amechi. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Good morning, Mr. Amechi. Looking
olive in olive green.
That's right. It is what it is.
Good to see you, Mr. Amechi. Looking very dapper as always.
Yes. I didn't see you last week.
Yes, I took a break. You need to rest. Oh. No, not another paternity leave.
Is that what you're threatening us with?
So it's good to rest body and soul sometimes. We work very hard.
No rest for the wicked. Anyway, let's go into the newspapers this morning. I'll start with the front pages of, let's see which paper we should begin. Okay, let's start with the Punch newspaper. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, big money, small impact, governors face fire over 9 trillion naira FAC windfall. Federal allocations leap 37% post-subsidy. Spotlight on state spendings. NLC economists, opposition parties react.
Big money, small impact.
Big money is really, I like that rider there. Big money, small impact. Electoral Act, Senate resumes debate today after backlash. Federal government moves to share electricity subsidy costs with states. PDP crisis, Wike bloc plans convention after court victory. And APC unveils 73-member National Convention Committee. Refiners battle crude shortage as Nigeria exports 306 million barrels. Court remands 9 over killing of 150 in Benue. No other country sees daily killings like Nigeria, Bishop Kuka says. Father seeks justice over son's mysterious death inside Lagos hotel. And finally, ministry blames budget delay as South Africa cuts embassy power supply. Shame they catch me.
And there
Let's
was,
start with that one, actually.
there was a whole diplomatic spat on Twitter yesterday.
I don't know if you saw that
Nigerians
story
versus South Africans.
of them cutting our power.
The Punch newspaper is a full bulletin. This front page alone of everything that is happening in the country.
I'm telling you, everything that's going on. Where do you want to start from, sir?
Let's start with big money, small impact.
Exactly.
Yeah, because to whom much is given, much is expected. 9 trillion FAC windfall. And we're situated in the city of aquatic splendor, the center of excellence. Let's start with Lagos, for example, with the massive IGR. Lagos is always happy to boast that they have the biggest economy in West Africa. But big money, small impact. You drive around the city, infrastructure is not so great. And I was going to make a complaint this morning. Lateef Jakonde Road that leads to our office. That name, Lateef Jakonde, is synonymous with excellence. And I think you're doing him a disservice by allowing that road to be in a state is dark. There are no street lights there. There are potholes that have been there for months and nothing has been done. This is just minimum. We're not even going into the crevices and the outskirts of Lagos. What's your take on this windfall? And while we're not holding state governments accountable, all fingers seem to be pointing to Abuja when the state governments are closer to us.
Well, Wenga, let me first of all thank Punch for that this big impact, also big money, small impact. I think it's an imaginative headline. Now, and that is true. We have, since the removal of fuel subsidy, almost the FAC allocation to all the states, the money that goes into the coffers of the states from federal allocation every month has doubled. Now, and you ask yourself, where is all this money going into? Most of Nigerians who are kicking against the renewed quest for more taxes are also asking, if we pay taxes, what is the government going to do with it? So it's a big problem. And that's at the cross of the matter. Governance, deliverance of democracy dividends to the people. What do Nigerians actually benefit from this so-called democracy? There are those on the flip side who may argue that even with the leap in the quantum of money that is now available, that in real terms, particularly when you place
just for inflation, and
side by side with the exchange rate, that it also amounts to nothing, because before, when the exchange rate was about 300 to 400 naira to a dollar, now it hovers around 1,500, 1,400. And then the rate of inflation, don't mind that the government is now saying that it is now 15%. But those who go to the market every day, those who go to hospitals, those who pay rent, know that nothing.
So we cannot believe the Nigerian Bureau of the National Bureau of Statistics.
Well, those are the figures they are reading out every month. But the reality is that it has no impact on the lived experiences of Nigerians. Nothing. You can't buy drugs.
Mr. Mechi, we're not even, okay, you have all this money, you're not doing a lot. The impact is minimal. And recently, we've seen the line items of a lot of budgets of this state, and you have the most ridiculous. They seem to be more interested in buying SUVs than fixing healthcare or education in their states. And what hope is there for the people? How do we adjust this anomaly? Because it's brazen, and do your words. What it seems like what can you do?
Let me explain how brazen it is. Sorry, before you answer, Mr. Michi, let me read what the numbers are saying. The Federation account disbursement data showed that state governments received a total of 7.315 trillion naira from the Federation Account Allocation Committee in 2025, compared with 5.186 trillion in 2024. So the year-on-year increase of roughly about 2.13 trillion represents a jump of about 41% in direct FAC allocations to states. When the constitutionally mandated 13% derivation revenue is added, total inflows attributed to states climbed to 8.934 trillion naira, which is about 9 trillion naira in 2025, which is up from 6.533 trillion in 2024, a rise of 2.4 trillion or 36.74%.
Look, we are saying what we have always said here. In a country where there is no accountability, in a country, and look, we can continue blaming the governors, we can continue blaming President Bola Tinubu for all we like, unless the citizens decide to own this process, unless the citizens decide that the leaders who are in office, courtesy of their votes, that they must do what promotes common good, we will still be here in the next 5 years. I've not seen a people like Nigerians before, very docile. Nobody takes interest in what is. Instead, they'll be clapping for those who are subjecting them to this level of indignity. It doesn't make sense. And until Nigerians take it upon themselves to start asking questions of what these people, because this is our common patrimony, this is our common wealth. These people are only there to superintend over this, our common wealth, on our behalf.
Your namesake, Mr. I know you're not happy to be namesake with him, but it's your namesake, by the way, Mr. Rotimi Hamid.
How do you know he's not happy to be namesake with him?
He did say that the people are too poor to organize. And maybe because they're dealing with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, basic human needs, shelter, food, clothing, they can't even organize themselves to say, look, our commonwealth and collective patrimony is being abused. Let's do something about this. Could that be a factor as to why we're being docile?
Well, former Governor Chibike Amechi of Rivers State is my friend.
Okay, good.
You see?
my very good friend. Now, look, I would rather think that it will work the other way. If you are so poor, so angry, then you will vote against the system. You will vote against the system that has made you poor. This issue of that we are faced with existential crisis of where to get food, where to get money to pay for the children's school fees, and therefore you leave those who have created those horrible conditions
and
for you
have surplus
to continue spending your commonwealth as they like. This is the only country that I know where there is no difference between private and public purse.
Yeah.
If you are a governor today, you treat the resources of the state as if it is you are heritage from your father. It is not. This is money that belongs to the people.
Even the naming of the projects too, it's personal.
There is no difference between public and private purse, even at the federal level. Does Tinubu tell you how much? For instance, who did the building of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway? Who did? where is the money coming from? Because as at the time that project was kicked off, it was not in the budget of that year. And there are so many extra budgeting monies that are spent.
But shouldn't the National Assembly be checking that?
Do we have a legislature? What we have essentially today is only one arm of government, and that's the executive. The legislature and the judiciary, I am sorry to say, who are supposed to hold them accountable, who are supposed to play the role of checks and balances, are mere parastatals in the presidency. And that is why whatever the president wants, the Senate president already told us that whatever the man wants, he gets. Look at also the issue of this electoral reform, which is stalling in the National Assembly today. They are not interested in reforming the system. They are not interested in giving this democracy a new breath of life. They are only interested in the status quo remaining. So the only thing that can save this democracy is for the people to begin to ask questions. We are too docile, and there is no country where this level of docility persists that we get out of. Because if we are hoping that somehow that God will touch us.
Well, Mr. Peter Obi said we should pray for the politicians.
I don't believe in all those things. God won't touch the hearts of the leaders. It is only the people, when they react, when the government, when the leaders see the red eyes of the people, that is the only thing that can nudge them into doing what is right. But if you are sitting down there and praying to God every Sunday in churches or every Friday in mosque and thinking that God will come down to touch them, why would he? Why would he not, for crying out loud? Nigeria is not the only country created by God. So why are we subletting things that God has given us the ability to solve? Why are we going back to God to pray, to come and help us solve problems that we want to solve?
You're not the only country. How can you be praying for light so you can iron your clothes before you go to
lights? Anyway, there's certain prayers that we
are a praying nation.
A highly religious nation. I'll take a comment from YouTube, and then just to mention that we have opened the comment section and we're opening the phone lines. The numbers to call at the bottom of your TV screen. We'll take a few calls during the review of the newspaper. Olumide Alade says, such funds are invested in social safety nets, child support, care for the elderly, and unemployment relief. And I believe he's talking about what should be the order of the day in other countries.
Is it talking
he
about
goes on
Sweden?
to say, here, 9 trillion is squandered on luxury SUVs and personal property. That's Olumide Alade's comment on YouTube. We're streaming live here on New Central TV Live. Drop your comments on YouTube and we'll take them. And the phone lines are open. I want us to take another story.
You need to see the Federal Ministry of Housing allocation for 2026, then compare it with SUVs. And we have a housing deficit. But let's take another story.
Very interesting one there.
It's crazy, Benga.
Okay.
You need to do that special.
I want us to talk about PDP. The Wike bloc plans convention after court victory. They've scheduled March 28th and 29th for their convention, and it will be happening in Abuja. They say they will select a new National Working Committee and other statutory organs.
I don't think we should continue wasting time on this Wike PDP and all that. The truth of the matter is that we all know what the issues are. Wike is working for President Bola Ahmed, and his brief is to ensure that PDP is held down until after the 2027 election. So it's as simple as that. There's nothing that Wike is doing, and he's doing it in cahoots with the judiciary. And this is why this is very, very, very
dangerous.
Sad. How can the judiciary be helping politicians to truncate our democracy? Because, look, we come here every day, Wike, Rivers, Wike, Abuja, Wike. How powerful can a man be? And what is it that is in Wike that will make him so powerful? If not that he's enabled, supported, and promoted by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And you ask yourself, is this how a democracy works? This cannot be democracy by any stretch of imagination. Okay, if we succeeds in destroying PDP as he has actually succeeded in doing, and so what? If perchance Tinubu gets a second term in 2027, after him, what happens next? Will there be no life after a Tinubu? And if Tinubu has done so well, as we are being told every day, why is he afraid of a contest? Why must it be that every governor must come to PDP? As at the last count, with the joining of the APC. Governor of Anambra State, Abu Kefas, I think APC now has about 31 governors.
Yeah.
Out of 36.
Naba Yusuf of Kano.
So, how do you justify this? This is an election that was conducted less than 3 years ago. APC won 19 states. Now, you have coerced 11 or 12 other governors to jump ship. And why this is so sad? Let us take the issue of Abba Yusuf of Kano, for instance. Do you know how many people died trying to protect the victory of NNPP? Do you know how many people were locked up trying to protect the victory of NNPP? Do you know the extent people went into ensuring that that victory was not compromised? Now, on a platter of idiocy, you wake up one morning and you're taking that same mandate that belongs to the people, doesn't belong to you.
At the end of the day, that's now the order of the day in Nigeria's political system. Let's go on a very quick break. We'll come back from the break and take a few more papers. Keep the comments coming on YouTube. We can see the comments in the comment section. I have a very interesting comment for you, Mr. Mechi. I'll tell you when we come back from the break.
Welcome back. We're still taking a look at the front pages of the newspapers. Let's quickly move because of our time, and let's take a look at another interesting story.
But not before we take this comment on YouTube. I want to share with Mr. Amechi. Someone says, Felix Okechukwu says to tell you to embark on a 100-day fast and prayer for a solution to Nigeria's problems. And Victor Okebata says, Governor Seyi Makinde told the world that Wike said that he's still in PDP to hold the party down for Tinubu until he wins 2027 elections.
So it's obvious. So anything that's got to do with
I mean, water is wet.
Obvious.
Yeah.
The water is white. Yes,
it's wet.
Okay, I get your point. Yeah. Let's look at this one. No other country sees daily killings like Nigeria, Kuka says. That's the latest story. But I'd like us to go to this Nigeria. This Nigeria is the next paper we're going to go to. Yelwata massacre, court remands suspected terrorists. Defendants plead not guilty to 57 count amended charge bordering on alleged terrorism offenses. PDP, BOT, yes, we're taking that one. After 5 lost years, Onitsha Market reopens under security. We do have the video of that. I'd like you to react to that.
And the governor also went shopping.
Governor Saludo was there live with his microphone.
Some designer
did some shopping, bought some T-shirts, to look good.
Last Tuesday,
you applauded it.
That issue dominated our discussion on this program, and I said I supported Chukwuma Soludo. Of course, it wasn't a position that that was going to get me a lot of accolades, particularly from my people. I'm Igbo. Now, when this issue of Biafra and all that, a lot of Igbos are very emotional about it. But the truth of the matter is that, look, we must be intentional in everything we are doing. Like I asked last week, what is the end game? What do you intend to achieve by... People are more or less glamorizing, today is Nasit at home. Today is Nasit at home. And the way they say it, if you are in the southeast, it's almost as if we are celebrating.
Meanwhile, it's self-flagration. You're losing production. Yeah.
Everything. You drive across River Niger and into Asaba, which, if you trek it, wouldn't even take you more than 10 minutes.
Business is going on.
Business is going on. And in every other part of Nigeria, on Mondays, business is going on. You lock yourself down, deprive yourself for the people who are known for business, buying
enterprise,
and selling, mostly. You lock up your shop and you go home and you are happy about it. What do you intend to achieve? Well, I can agree that when that issue came up, ab initio, it was supposed to act as a pressure on the then Buhari-led federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu. It didn't work. They have gone ahead, they have jailed Nnamdi Kanu. Why are you in that decision of punishing yourself when the people you are dealing with don't give a damn? In fact, now they would want you to lock up the whole of the Southeast because this is not a country that plans, as long as oil.
As long as you're not disrupting the means of production, exactly.
Exactly. As long as oil flows and the foreign exchange comes in, they don't care. So if you
you think it's lost its symbolism and that time had passed?
It has, completely. So if you like, shut down Alibo for... But I'm not a fan of Chukwuma Soludo. There are things he has done that I disagree with. But on this issue, these traders cannot, because many of them have sympathy for IPOB. But the IPOB you have sympathy for, they have come to tell you, at least Nnamdi Kanu said that in one of those days in court, that he's not in support of the sit-at-home, and therefore it must be discarded. So who is doing this, and what purpose is it serving?
What was the end game?
No. Exactly. So I am glad there is some level of understanding. We need to rebuild Alibo. Alibo has bled for so long. We've lost people, human beings, for nothing. Businesses have migrated from the southeast. And
I mean, even families are disconnected.
Yeah.
The holidays.
Exactly.
People no longer go home to do what they ought to do. And this is why everybody was happy this Christmas. This is about the first Christmas in the last 4 or 5 years that there was no incident in the southeast. People came home in their numbers, and the entire region was bubbling. So why do you want to disrupt that? Let us go back to our business. If we are hoping that Nigeria, let us rebuild Southeast. Let those who are playing politics in Abuja continue playing their politics. Okay. But we must rebuild Southeast. So I thank Governor Chukwuma Soludo, but I also thank the traders for being peaceful and for reasoning with the governor.
So how can this be sustainable?
How it can be?
You also need, you can't have a market with only traders. You need the customers. Yeah, you need clients.
They will come back.
They will come. They will come.
Okay.
This is the first step. Eventually, all these things, Alibo will come back to what it used to be.
Frederick Bobby agrees with you. He says we actually need to rebuild Igbo land. This sit at home is crazy. Still on YouTube comment, Olumide Alade says, this desperation by the APC has turned Nigeria's democracy into a ridicule. Nigerian politics has degenerated into a one-man show. Even countries with powerful monarchs still allow their citizens to decide freely and elect their leaders without interference. Maxwell Samuel says, Mr. Amechi is right. The people need to raise and demand for accountability, just like VDM called out the governor of Ekiti State for budgeting only 68 million to health sector. Victor Okebata says, okay, yeah, I've taken this comment. I keep the comments coming on YouTube.
VDM's NGO has more money than that 68 million that was budgeted for health. That's the irony.
Anyway,
let's go to
I want us to take Desiani Alison Madueke's bribery trial that's happening in the Southern Crown Court in the UK. She's alleged that the Nigerian government, as well as the British government, have refused to give her access to certain documents that will aid her defense. And she's, of course, pleaded not guilty.
And the former husband said she should drop the name Alison Madueke, that doesn't want to be associated with her. So I think members of the press need to...
I can answer that one. No, he cannot, no, I can answer that one from a legal standpoint.
He cannot do that.
From a legal standpoint, once you've married someone and you've taken their name, it becomes your name. Even after a divorce, you can choose not to, and I'm telling you legally, you can choose not to return that name.
But he doesn't like it.
It's not about him. They got married. Her identity became Alison Madueke. If after the marriage she decides she doesn't want to return the name, because she took over his name.
You know I like this.
Why?
Woman. So we will say, I will not bear my husband's name.
No, I'm telling you, it's her decision legally because that is her identity. Okay. Her identity has now become Alison Madueke.
I mean, he's tried to seek redress in court. I don't know.
Anyway, we have 3 minutes. Mr. Richie, please go ahead.
The only thing I can say on that case, if Iziani is not saying that both the British and the Nigerian government are denying her access to documents that she needs not to defend herself. Fair hearing and justice demands that whatever instruments, documents that will help her in her defense that should be made available to her. It's as simple as that. She's already in court, and she has the right to defend herself to the best of her
ability.
And conspiring not to give her the documents that she requires is antithetical to justice, and therefore those things must be made available to her. That's the only thing I can say about that.
All right. As we wrap things up this morning and thank our guests, let's quickly show you The Guardian and just run through some of the stories there just in case so you can get to see it. The Guardian has on the front page, I will be running for president in 2027.
Wow.
Obi confirms. You know what, can you just touch on that, or, you know, we still have like 1 minute to go.
But, you know,
But where? Is it on the same ADC that has internal
Galacticos.
Obedience are saying, is it that you give Obi or we scatter, we leave you?
And that's the ADC that is looking like it's a People's Party.
The 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has always said that he's going to be
president
on the ballot.
Or nothing.
On the ballot in 2027. So, there was nothing he said yesterday.
That's different.
That is new.
Can I quickly butt in? Just, I need your answer.
Yes.
Do you think there's a form of regret? Maybe if he had stayed with LP, now that things have turned around for better, it would have been the major face for LP now.
The flip side of that, and that's the joke in town, is that perhaps if he had stayed back in LP,
things would have not.
The judiciary wouldn't have given the judgment that they gave. It was because he left that the judiciary now did what they were supposed to do, because there was no development in Labour Party after Peter Obi's exit that could have warranted the judgment that was given. And that is why I say that judiciary is part of the problem of this democracy, if not the biggest problem of this democracy. So that Labour Party seems to be where it is now is not because of, it is because Peter left, and they are now going to focus their attention on ADC. Of course, they are holding PDP down with Wike there. All this thing is to destabilize every opposition, so that at the end of the day, we're going into 2027 with Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the sole presidential candidate in Nigeria. Who does that? What kind of democracy is that? Yet you are saying that the man has turned Nigeria into an Eldorado, and you are afraid of credible opposition. So, which political platform is Peter going to use?
We'll find out in due course.
We'll
Thank
find
you so
out.
much.
Watch out.
Thank you. Watch out. That's how we say it. That's all we've got here on Breakfast Central. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you,
Alechi.
Olive. Thank you, Benga.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you,
And
Benga.
thank you for watching.
And thank you for your comments to all our YouTube commenters, Olumide Alade, Maxwell Samuel, Felix Okechukwu, Mokuye Chukwu Emeka. Thank you so much. I hope I haven't missed any name.
I'm sure
Frederick
you've missed
Bobby. Thank you for the
Olive,
comments.
no shout out today.
Shout out to you all for being a part of Breakfast Central.
Wow,
See you
this is
tomorrow.
strange.
This is strange to you too. As if you don't make shout outs on this show.
Okay, let me just satisfy you guys and make a shout out.
See you tomorrow.